A young man recently reached out to me who lost his dad, and he wanted some advice. So I wrote him a letter, and I thought it might be helpful if I shared it with you too. Hang out for a minute. One of the occupational hazards and true privileges of being a man who makes a living mostly telling sad stories on the internet is that on occasion, somebody out in the lonely world will be going through something kind of rough, and because of what I do for a living, they may be under the impression that I can help. And they may write me a kind letter filled with compliments and flattery, which will have the intoxicating effect of convincing me that I actually can. The embarrassing thing, of course, is the only thing I am an expert in, the only thing any of us really are experts in is our own experience. And therefore, when somebody reaches out instead of advice or wisdom, sometimes I feel like the best thing that I can offer them is a story. Now, a story isn't helpful in a prescriptive sense. It won't tell you what to do. In fact, I think ChatGPT might be much better at creating a list of things that you should check off if you're in crisis. But what a story does that is useful is make us feel not alone. And while not being alone won't solve the problem, it may take away the power that the problem has over you. The other day, a young man reached out to me with one such problem, and I thought it might make us all feel less alone if I shared my response. Ian wrote, "My dad died this time last year. 2 days ago, I graduated college and I decided I wasn't going to walk. I was scared to walk because my dad wasn't going to be there, and that's not right. 2 hours before the ceremony, I couldn't shake the feeling that he would be mad if I didn't walk, so hurriedly I bought a cap and gown and I walked without him there. Next month, I get married, and he won't be there. And I'm beyond excited to get married, but I find myself more afraid than anything. How is my dad not there? I don't want to be distracted in my heart by the absence of my father while I'm at my own wedding, but I'm even more afraid of not being so. I don't know what to do, and I'm scared, and I just want my dad." Dear Ian, I want to commend you on your graduation and on your upcoming nuptials, and I want to congratulate you on the tremendous act of courage that is simply asking a stranger for help. I am deeply honored with this privilege, and I will do my best not to fuck it up. As you may know, I got married 7 months after my mom passed away from a brief but brutal fight with lung cancer. 4 days after, I lost my job, and the months that followed were some of the most challenging in my life. Now, I say this not to compare tragedies, but just to provide context for what I'm about to tell you next, which is that my wedding day was and still is one of the greatest days of my life. It was also a sad day. Of course it was. But see, those days, every day was kind of a sad day. In fact, there is a little bit of sadness in every day now. But what I have learned is that the presence of sadness does not remove the possibility for joy. The sadness you now hold is a little bit like knowing the spoilers to a movie. You can let the spoilers completely ruin the film for you, or you can appreciate how the plot bends and twists to achieve them. On my wedding day, before the mother-son dance, I walked out onto the tiny dance floor in the English pub where my mom was so excited to join me. It was a small wedding, about 50 people, just enough to be able to look everyone in the eyes when I talked to them. There was nowhere to hide. This is how it feels to be the elephant in the room. I realized that they were looking to me for a sign as to how they were supposed to act in this moment, how they were supposed to celebrate in the presence of absence. So I smiled and I said that before my mom passed away, when she was sick in the hospital, we would send each other emails, lyrics to songs. And there was one that both of us liked that was particularly appropriate to share in this moment. Tell the people that you love them. Make music like nobody will hear it. If you're ever at a wedding and the dance floor is empty, dance hard, motherfucker. Be fearless. Except I didn't say that. I totally botched the first 2 lines, and I said, make love like nobody will hear it, which is an objectively hilarious thing to say in front of my 90-year-old grandma. Everyone laughed, and I laughed. And I said my mom would have danced her ass off tonight, so let's all go out there and make her proud. The presence of sadness did not remove the possibility for joy. The thing is, grief is never not with us. There are some days that it is loud as hell, and there are some days when we can't control the volume at all. So we can choose to let it prevent us from experiencing anything else, or we can choose to experience everything else alongside it. Good luck. Congratulations again.